So yesterday I made a video making a distinction between the ripe time, RIPE, and the right time, RIGHT. And what I was trying to teach people was that when you are in alignment with nature and God and all of these things, everything happens in its ripe time. Just like plants grow at their ripe time, vegetables grow at their ripe time, fruit grows at their ripe time, babies come into the world at their ripe time. And some people might think, well, yeah, that makes sense for babies and that makes sense for apples or whatever the case may be. But what about other things in my life? So I'm going to give you an example, a practical example. My dad and other people used to pressure me because they felt like I sometimes would move too slowly in the world. And I would say, well, I move slowly because I'm trying to just kind of stay in alignment with what I think is the right time. And they would try to rush me. But I would tell them, if you rush in the beginning, the effects of rushing is going to come back out later. And so I'd rather not do that. And they said, well, what about money and what about all these things? So here's a really hilarious example. I was selling cars at Atlanta Toyota some years ago just to make some money because I had just gotten into this like lull. And so I was like, all right, you know what? I need to make maybe $10,000, $15,000 real quick. Let me go sell some cars. So I went to sell some cars. And when I first started selling cars, like the first week, I didn't even try to go out there and sell anything. I would just sit there and read the manuals, watch the videos about the cars and everything like that. That's something that Abraham Lincoln would call sharpening your axe. So I was sharpening my axe instead of just chopping a tree with a dull axe and putting in a lot more work for not so great an outcome. So I'm sitting here sharpening my axe and everybody's like, what's going on with you, man? How come you ain't out there trying to get these ups, which is what they call customers? And I said, I'm doing what I got to be doing. So I read the manuals and, like I said, watched the videos, like I said, and I got a stack of business cards and I used to stamp them, and I would stamp on the back of them, I sell them to others as I would have them selling to me. And so that was to let people know I'm not out here trying to scam you. I'm not trying to do these things. I'm just trying to help you make a great buying decision that works for you and then works for me. And so that's what I would do. And so one day they were trying to pressure me to go outside and try to get some customers who were walking around the parking lot. And I was just like, nah, man, I don't feel like doing that. But I went outside, and instead of going out to try to sell some cars to some people, I went and got inside my own car and just meditated. And I just sat there, meditated, thanked God for everything, and visualized myself being like a tree beside the water, which is from a song. And that everything comes to me, and I don't need to go out chasing and being all kinds of like crazy trying to, go after folks like that. So I'm sitting there meditating. I'm feeling the fullness of time. I'm feeling the ripe time. And then I decide, hey, it's time to get up. I get up. I start walking back to the car dealership. I open the door for these two black dudes that are walking in. And then all of a sudden, these two dudes turn to me and they say, do you sell cars? And I was like, yeah. And there was these dudes from Africa. And they said, you will sell us two cars. We are going to buy a Sienna and an Avalon fully loaded in cash. And then I was like, okay, like no joke. Take these dudes over to the cars. They said, tell me about this car. And I said, oh, well, this car is comparable to a Lexus, yada, yada, yada. It's got heating seats, and it also has cooling seats. Well, this dude told me that he was going to take these cars, buy them in cash, and shipping them to Africa. And he said, what did I tell you? Did I tell you that this car was going to Africa? I said, yeah. He said, and you telling me about heated seats? And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess you don't know. He said, in Africa, every seat is a heated seat. Tell me more. And then I said, oh, well, yeah, it's got cooling seats. And then he was like, cooling seats? I must have it. And then he said, write it up. And then the other dude got a fully loaded Sienna. And these dudes acted like Eddie Murphy in Coming to America, being Akeem and Simi. And they said, I must have it. And they went and bought these cars in cash and threw some money on top for me. And I walked in and everybody said, yo, how did you pull this off, man? I didn't see you talk to anybody all day. And I said, yo, man, I just got it at the right time. That's how it is. Peace.